Hello everyone, Ben here, and today we've got something a bit different for you. We're taking a look at the Grand Prix Evolution mod for Automobilista, which recreates the classic Geoff Crammond Grand Prix games in a modern simulator. To show off the mod, we're going to do a classic race in each era that is included in the mod, and we're starting here in the 1991 version, which reflects the original Grand Prix title. Immediately you can see the retro polygons of the cars look superb, running at 60 frames per second, and the mod also replicates the sounds of the original title pretty well too. We're in Ayrton Senna's McLaren Honda. We started second, just as Senna did in Japan in 1991, as he was fighting with Nigel Mansell for the world title. And I have to say the opportunity to replay these titles using a steering wheel and pedals is quite something. Trying to get 90s PC games to function on modern systems can be a bit of a nightmare, but this is incredibly easy to set up. You just download the files from Race Department, copy and paste them into your Automobilista files, and you're good to go. And of course I've left a link to the mod in the description to this video. So we're in second place here to our teammate Gerhard Berger as we're coming round to the second half of the lap here in Suzuka. You can see the kind of graphical style of the cockpits. It's fairly basic as it was, but actually you get a decent sense of immersion as you kind of come around, and because you've got the kind of more modern graphical settings for the kind of track and the surrounding area, it gives a really kind of cool feel to the game. So we're coming now round to the end of lap one. If you look in our mirrors, you can see we're actually kind of coming under a bit of pressure from behind, and he makes a move to the inside, and we're actually getting pushed out wide, and we're going to lose a spot here. So rather than challenging for the lead as we look to recreate this 1991 Japanese Grand Prix, we've actually been pushed out and we've lost our line through the S's. He just about keeps the car on track, and we're now going to have to roll our sleeves up and try and get that place back. We flash forward to later on in the second lap of 3 that we're doing here in Japan, and we've got into the slipstream now of the car ahead, and we're going to try and make a daring move into 130R. We just about make it stick without making contact. We squeeze him out, and that's ourselves back up into second place. We're now cutting forward onto the last lap of this race. We weren't really able to kind of close the gap too much more to Berger. We're probably going to finish around a second, 2 seconds behind him, but just really great fun to kind of get back into that feeling of playing the original Grand Prix, and I really do love these graphics. Just as with Fun Selector's recent The Art of Rally, it really highlights that you don't need to chase photorealism to get a really evocative style. And in retrospect, as you'll see from this replay footage outside of the cockpit, the kind of design of this generation of F1 cars really suit the simple polygons that were available to developers at the time. It's really cool to kind of see the actual helmets for the drivers, and overall I just think it looks fantastic. We jump forward now 3 years to 1994 and to Grand Prix 2, and we're in Damon Hill's Williams car at the decisive Adelaide Grand Prix, where he would lose the championship in controversial circumstances to Michael Schumacher in the Benetton. That's not Schumacher ahead of us there, that's Jos Verstappen, his teammate, who we're following through this first set of corners. Straight away you can see that even just in 3 years between the games coming out, the graphical fidelity has come on hugely. Car liveries are much more detailed. The sophistication of the cars themselves is just much better represented. Grand Prix 2 was essentially my introduction to sim racing, even though you'd never have called it that at the time. As a kid, I'd played on a joystick, and there was even a multiplayer mode where you could take turns and the AI would control your car for a bit while your mate did some laps, and then it was back to you. And I spent hours and hours on that game. So all of those memories do come back playing this mod, and it was really cool lapping here at Adelaide. I should say something about the handling and the physics. So, I can't honestly say I can remember how this, compares to the originals. Too much time has passed since I played any of them. But what I would say is that although both fall quite a bit short of the best F1 sims that you can find in Assetto Corsa or even the F1 machinery in AMS, that does reflect some of these earlier generations of Formula One cars. There is a somewhat authentic feel to these cars, and I'm sure you could dial that in a bit further if you took the time to do so. But it isn't really the point of this mod. This for me is about having fun and recreating that sense of being a kid in the 1990s, experiencing Grand Prix racing for the first time. So we came home second there. Jos Verstappen taking a win that eluded him in his career. And once again, looking at the shots of the cars in the replays afterwards, it just shows how gorgeous these graphics still look, even now, over a quarter of a century later. And it's just fantastic to be able to kind of do this on a modern system. Right, so we come to the final version of this mod, and we're driving Michael Schumacher's Ferrari at Montreal in 1998. This is a race that he won, despite missing out on the title this year to the dominant McLarens. Immediately, you can see another jump up in visual fidelity and the quality of the sounds. We've got a lot more going on in the cockpit. The wheel moves, for one, and the dash is more engaging. The graphics on the tyres are far better, and I get far too ambitious there and need to do a bit of Sebastian Vettel style corner cutting. It also handily demonstrates that the game does simulate having grass on your tyres, both visually and in terms of grip, as I nearly have a second even bigger accident. The game reflects Grand Prix 3 and Grand Prix 4 according to the mod makers, and once again it's just good fun to chuck the cars around and relive playing those classic games. Unfortunately, in this race, my performance doesn't really live up to Michael Schumacher's or even my own in the previous two races, as I never really recover from that first lap mistake. We're coming now round onto the final lap of 3. We've got Damon Hill in the Jordan, the yellow Jordan in our mirrors, and one thing we are able to do is keep him behind on this final lap, which I do think Michael would probably be quite pleased about. But we come through the final chicane. This is the older version of the track, which is in Automobilista, which has a slightly different profile chicane there. So there you have it, the Geoff Crammond games recreated in a modern simulator. Any F1 fan or fans of 90s racing games owe it to themselves to give this a go if you have Automobilista, and I believe the mod is also available in RFactor as well. Don't go in expecting the perfect simulation of these F1 cars, but you can expect beautiful retro looks and sounds and a ton of nostalgia. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do like and subscribe for more sim racing content. See you next time.